All right, Sports Bet Betting Insight today. Pauly and Teddy, Monday, November 12th. Big game breakdown, one NBA, and the stinker on Monday Night Football. Play the day before we get out of here. All the betting news you need to know in less than 20 minutes. I'm at Real Sports Bet on Twitter. He's at Teddy_covers. You got 3 days left. The live stream poker tournament, free roll, $1,000 SBR bounty. November 14th, 9 o'clock Eastern. Youwager.eu, where America bets. Log in, sign up, and win. 5 bounties available on the SBR personalities. Youwager.eu. So knock them out, win some money, and get in part of that sucker on Wednesday. Free roll. Come on, get on that and play some poker. All right, bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. In a second, a recap. I was told by one bookmaker, as bad as it was last Sunday, they got all of it back and then some. Imagine if the Saints would have lost outright, probably would have been a top 5 Sunday for the sports books. They crushed it early. No drama as well. You just had the Colts-Jags game that came down to the wire. A lot of blowouts, and most of the moves will go down in flames, Teddy. When you saw what happened, the move on Tampa Bay, the Chiefs don't cover, the Patriots get beat outright. A strange day with the early games.
Yeah, and certainly after one of a notably bad weekend for bookmakers here in Las Vegas, across the country, and offshore worlds, this weekend, let's call it, and it was a bad weekend on top of 2 not so good weekends back to back. So it had been 3 pretty good weekends for a row for the public. The Super Contest consensus had gone 5-0 in each of the previous 2 weeks, 14-1 over the 3-week span. That wasn't the case yesterday, as you mentioned. I don't know if the books got all of it back, because really, when you're talking about week 9 was a disaster for bookmakers. Week 10, a good notch or 2 better. They won most of it back. And when it comes to bad beats, Pauly, there are a couple we got to mention, but not really a true bad beat for anybody who got involved in the NFL yesterday.
Yep. Got all of it back and then some at one location. That was one location. Each place is different, but that's one bookmaker told me today, and there was a ton of money. They actually needed the Rams. How about that for a change? A lot of money on Seattle in the late games. The Buccaneers from pick up to 3.5. They lost the game and had 500 yards. First time in NFL history a team had 500 yards and were held to 3 points or fewer. Unbelievable. 5 trips inside the Redskins' 25-yard line.
Oh, I mean, they punted once. Tampa Bay punted once and scored 3 points. Okay, they had 29 first downs and scored 3 points. Every other team in the history of the NFL with at least 29 first downs had scored at least 13 points. The first team ever with more than 450 yards and 3 points or fewer. No team with 3 points or fewer had ever gained more than 24 first downs. Yeah, it was really rough if you bet Tampa. They moved the ball up and down the field. They did not get into the end zone. Let's give the Redskins defense some credit. They the old bend but don't break. They bent but didn't break. But what's been a really rough since that 2-0 start, it's been rough for Tampa. And yesterday's defeat, just another tough loss for the Buccaneers in a game that in many ways they dominated, not on the scoreboard.
There hasn't been a lead change in a Redskin game the whole season. Can you believe that? That's the most amazing stat I've seen in a long time. That is nuts. Chiefs finally lost a coin toss for the first time in the regular season. Also, a heart attack game, a scare as you call it. I had Arizona in play. Rosen gets picked. Kansas City had a chance to house that, and they knocked him out. Finally stepped out of bounds. I thought he was going to house that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's your ultimate heart attack. Well, look, Arizona's right side, wire to wire, right side winner. Rosen played well. They executed in the red zone. And then, end of the game, Rosen throws the pick, and all of a sudden, it's a KC defender in space, and your heart's going bum, 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 bum. It didn't become a bad beat for Arizona bettors, but it could have been. It was a sweat and a half. Cardinals, however, a right side winner. And there was a fair bit of Arizona money. There were 17s early in the week. Those got bet out 16.5, 16, the closing number, with KC favored and KC not covering the number.
Bad bets, Falcons from 3.5 up to 6. They've lost 10 in a row ATS against the AFC. As I mentioned, Bucks pick up to 3.5. Detroit, Chicago under 46.5 to 44.5. Patriots, they can't even win outright. They get blown out 34-10. Their third road loss of double digits. That happened 3 times in the last 3 seasons combined. And the Eagles in Vegas from 6 up to 7.5. Lost outright as well off the bye. a lot of bad performances off the bye. We'll get to the Bengals in a second too, but those are some bad bets.
Yeah, certainly. And when you talk about New England, the books, what made yesterday a really good day for the books? The Patriots were a big part of it. 90% plus of the public were on New England yesterday. The bet count was 90% plus. The money count was 90% plus for that ball game. And Tennessee wire to wire knocked out all the teasers, knocked out all the parlays. That was the best game for the bookmakers yesterday. But Philly wasn't that bad either. And, you know, it was as high as -9 in some places offshore at the close. It closed 7.5 here in Vegas, but a hell of a lot of Philadelphia money. And let's not forget, the Eagles right now, by opponent's record, have the single most difficult remaining schedule in the NFL. The rest of their opponents are combined 40-23. So not going to get a whole lot easier for the Eagles down the stretch, though I still need one more loss out of Philly to cash my under 10.5 win bet on the Eagles for 2018.
All right. There you go. There you go. All right. I think they'll sweep the Redskins, though. They're still live. Bad for the books. Saints 4.5 up to 6. Oh, my God. Peyton said it wasn't perfect. It was good. Okay, fine. And then Austin fired today, defensive coordinator, on pace to allow the most yards in NFL history. Back-to-back games, giving up over 500 yards. Horror show by the Bengals. Lewis should follow him out the door. Green Bay from 9 up to 13. Tough beat if you had Packers first half. If you watch that second quarter, Bills over 36.5 up to 38. And the Bills took some money as well. Peterman should never play another down in the NFL. Barkley off the street comes in and beats the Jets.
Yeah, and that it felt like it had not much to do with the Jets as it did with the Bills. But, I mean, a flat-out no-show game for the Jets, and that doesn't bode well for Todd Bowles' job security, obviously. I thought that the Jets were going to come out focused. All the quotes were, yeah, we're going to slap this team around. Well, it was Buffalo with Barkley who came out, and that's as bad a wrong side you'll have all year if you had the Jets yesterday. Yeah, thank you very much. Although I had the Falcons, too. That wasn't a really right side either. But you're talking about the wise guys all over that game. There was lots of Seahawks money. There was lots of Bears money yesterday, pros and Joes. And, of course, the big move on Green Bay against Brock Osweiler ended up playing out well for better. So, yeah, good day for the books. But, they lost a handful of decisions, including the ones we just mentioned.
All right, Monday Night Football. Mullins and the 49ers laying 3.5 and 45 at home against the Giants. Big one for the Giants when you're talking number 1 overall pick. And if another stinker, maybe Eli goes to the bench. Mullins was terrific in the win against the Raiders, so Shanahan goes right back to him. The Niners is a favorite, horrible numbers, ATS. And here we go with the Giants, another team off the bye. Maybe Lalletta would have been the quarterback if he didn't get arrested. In any event, they're back to Eli, and the horror show for the Giants continues, and the 49ers, they're fighting. They're playing hard, just playing out the string, though, once it was over, once they lost Garoppolo.
So when you look at the stats for these two teams, you can understand why both of them have taken a fair bit of support in the betting markets. The Giants take money every week, not this week, but they have taken a lot of money. The Giants have only been outgained by 0.1 yards per play this season. San Fran has outgained their opponents by 0.1 yards per play this season. Just, that's Patriots territory. Okay? This is mediocre territory, not dismal territory. New England, of course, always undervalued because their yards per play isn't as good, perhaps, as some of the elite teams. But when you talk about minus 0.1 yards per play, plus 0.1 yards per play, that's mediocre. That's not dismal. You look at it against the run, Giants giving up 4.5 yards to carry, 49ers 4.0. Those aren't bad numbers. Mediocre against the run. You look at the numbers against the pass, neither team is allowing opposing QBs to have a QB rating of 100 against them. Giants at 93.3, Niners at 98.8. Again, not great, but not what we expect from the absolute bottom feeders. The absolute bottom feeder stuff, well, for San Fran, they're minus 15 in turnovers. That's absolute bottom feeder stuff. For the Giants, they played a brutal schedule. Opposing teams, 544 winning percentage for the G-Men, and the G-Men have been consistently unable to win close games. They put up the stats. They haven't put up the results. So from a stat standpoint, this line's probably right or pretty close. But from a momentum standpoint, Pauly, these two teams in very different places coming in to Monday Night Football.
They're just 1-12 ATS the last 5 years. The only cover was with Garoppolo. And now, I kind of see this will rally around the new quarterback. Will that happen again with Mullins? Does he get exposed tonight? And maybe it isn't the defense to do it. The Raiders stink. Both teams in the mid-20s as far as defense as well. So we'll see if Mullins has success again throwing the ball. And can I count on Eli? I mean, this could be it. He was asked about it too. If he struggles, will he get benched? He goes, I'm just focused on this one. The shame on the Giants organization and the fans. He should have been benched a long time ago, especially last year, to get the kids in there and see what they can do as he's getting up there in age, and he has just been horrible. Alex Smith thinks he's Charlie Checkdown.
Yeah, but with all of that, the Giants have never, at no point have the Giants had a backup quarterback that I'm like, oh yeah, this guy can come in and take over. This guy can come in and be the starter. This guy can come in and produce in the NFL. They haven't invested anything into the backup QB position for the last 15 years. And that's how you end up with a bunch.
They were supposed to play Webb last. Never put him out there.
At no point in his college or NFL career have I looked at Davis Webb and been like, oh, this guy's going to be an NFL starter. Yeah, he's going to make a difference. The Giants haven't invested resources in backup quarterback. Okay, they made one draft choice or a couple of draft choices, but, Eli's who they got, and here's the quotes from Eli. I think there's urgency to get things going for sure. We got to get some wins. We got to get going, and everybody wants it. The team needs it for the morale and just for the hard work and everything we put in. Just need to reap the benefits of the work and feel good about what we're doing. All that's need, he was asked if he was worried about losing his job. Quote, you worry about this week. We got the 49ers. I got the job to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. For San Fran, there was a QB question for this game. Who's going to go? Is it going to be Beathard or is it going to be Mullins? Shanahan, I don't think it was too tough of a decision. Our team played really well against the Raiders, and Mullins, played well. It was going to be hard not to give him the opportunity. Now, he said moving forward, it's going to be a week-to-week decision, and Garoppolo is going to be the long-term answer and all of that. But for right now, it's the Nick Mullins show. And, Nick Mullins, good college quarterback at Southern Miss. Never, in my mind, a serious NFL starting QB prospect. Why? He doesn't have the right size. He's a little guy. He doesn't have the right arm strength. He's not launching balls downfield. He's not throwing a 20-yard dime to the sideline. Well, that's not what
Nick are you Mullins doing here? Well, you're not a general manager. What are you, evaluating quarterbacks on this show? What the hell are you doing? Webb was a third-round pick. Loletta was a fourth-round pick. Eli's 38 in January. What are you, now you're giving up on Mullins now? Who are you? You're a GM now?
All I'm saying is what I see, Paul. That's all I can give. I'm not a GM. I look at Nick Mullins. I don't see an NFL starting QB for the long term. I look at Davis Webb. It's a similar story. Maybe you've seen something different, but I watch a lot of college football. I watch a lot of preseason NFLs. I have the opportunity to watch these guys play. And when you watch them, they pass the eye test or they don't. Mullins is okay. I'm not a GM. He's okay. He might do fine tonight. But what I'm saying, is this San Fran's guy? No, he's not their guy. Jimmy G's their guy. Is Davis Webb going to be the Giants guy? No. They're going to draft somebody else or trade for somebody else, and he'll be their quarterback next year after Eli's gone.
Well, Webb is gone, but maybe Webb can't play. He's with the Jets. But in any event, maybe it's like Hackenberg because he stinks so bad. They didn't put him in there. But at any point, you got to stop with this Eli Manning business, especially if you go 2-14 every year. More on this game coming up with the pick. Raptors are 9.5 and 232 against the Pelicans. What a story here. Best record in the NBA. The Raptors are 12-1. The Pelicans are 1-5 on the road. Check the status of Mirotic and also Payton. And it's a freight train. They're winning games without Kawhi. They're kicking ass and taking names. They got an easy win against the Knicks. They didn't have to play the key guys in the fourth quarter as well. Nurse is doing a great job here as they're scoring a ton of points as well. A fun team to watch. And I'll tell you, the East became more interesting with Butler trade. They get to going to the 76ers. I know it's football season, but I can't wait till the Eastern Conference semifinals roll around with the playoffs here. There was four very good teams in the East. So the Pelicans started 4-0. Then Davis got banged up. They lost 6 in a row, and now they've won 2 in a row.
You can make a case that 4 of the best 5 teams in the NBA right now are in the Eastern Conference.
Sure.
I don't know that I've been able to say that in 2 decades. I mean, literally. But, who's behind the Warriors in the West right now? Exactly. Whereas in the East, Milwaukee's pretty good. Boston's pretty good. Philly's pretty good. And, of course, this Raptors team has been a juggernaut. 10 of their 12 wins, this is a 12-1 team, 10 of their 12 wins have come by 9 points or more. You know, they're not beating teams. They're blowing teams off. They've dominated this series. They're 6-0 straight up, 4-2 against the spread in their last 3 years against the Pelicans. But it is worth noting that none of those wins came by more than 9 points. Now we're starting to talk about you're laying a price with the Raptors, a team that is extraordinarily deep again. You know, why was Toronto so good? Why did they finish with the number 1 seed in the East last year? The depth. And what have they done this season? Boy, they're living up to their depth. You know, I mean, that they had, 7 different guys in double digits the other night. The starting 5 was on the bench for the entire fourth quarter of that last ball game because the bench had played so well. And you guys like, guys like Sikam, who's coming in and you're like, wow, where'd he come from? All of a sudden he's being a dominating presence for Toronto, to go with Kawhi, to go with Kyle Lowry, to go with Ibaka, to go with Danny Green. That is a loaded team, Pauly. I didn't get it coming into the campaign. I'll give you all the credit in the world because you did. And hopefully you've made some money with the Raptors so far. But Pelicans, after that rough road trip, remember they won 4 in a row to start the season, lost 5 in a row on the highway, and then came home. They won back-to-back games. New Orleans, they still have injury issues, with Peyton and Mirotic, both questionable. And I don't know that I want them without Peyton in this ballgame. But New Orleans is not an easy team to lay 9.5 points to. They're pretty good, Pauly.
I'm very impressed with the same 2 teams. Toronto's the big story, and also Milwaukee. Milwaukee beats Denver on a back-to-back last night. That was a tough road trip. It kind of went the opposite of what you expected. It was a 4-game road trip. They went 2-2. They beat Golden State in Denver, and they lost to the Clippers in Portland, and they lost by 2 in overtime against L.A. And Budenholzer's doing a great job, and it's bombs away with Brook Lopez. And with the Raptors, they went 4-0 on that road trip as well. Ran out Sacramento, got by Phoenix. Some of those games they didn't have Kawhi. And then remember, they sat Kawhi in Los Angeles against the Lakers. It was 41-10 in the first quarter without Kawhi.
Yeah.
They didn't even play the next night in Utah, and they won that game as well. So now you take a look at that coming off the road trip. They hammered the Knicks. Look at the schedule coming up for Toronto, okay? And remember, Milwaukee, they lost to the Clippers by 2 in overtime. Didn't play well, got run out by Portland. Okay, that happens. Tough place to play. The other loss was in Boston when the Celtics almost set the record for threes in a game. And that was a one-possession game with a minute left. So you have to be impressed by Milwaukee and Toronto. And I got them every which way but loose. To win the East, to win it all. And Toronto, with Kawhi, who knows? This might work out and he might stay there. But they have been fantastic so far. And don't be surprised if it's like a 22-2 run when we talk a month from now.
Sure, and Kawhi's a guy who was never, give me the spotlight, which means Toronto might be a very good long-term location for him. But let's not sell this Pelicans team short. I know they had a rough road trip last time out. I also know they came back, held a couple of opponents under 100 points. They have not been good defensively for most of the season. But Anthony Davis, talking about those back-to-back wins, it was real big for us. You can't get too far down in the West or it's going to be trouble trying to get back up in the standings. So for us to come back home and take care of home court, it was big time for us. It gives us a little confidence going into 2 tough games. The Raptors are the number 1 team in the East, right? So it's going to be another big road trip for us. We've got to come out with both of them. So from the Browse quote, Anthony Davis saying, expect maximum intensity for the New Orleans Pelicans tonight, which in this point spread range could mean enough for them to slip under the number.
Number 2 in offensive efficiency, number 4 in defense. That's the Raptors. Money time, play of the day, Monday Night Football. Take it away.
Oh, yeah. We're going to go with the New York Football Giants, betting number 275. The hook matters here. Plus 3.5. Didn't like them. Wasn't going to get there plus 3. But I will take them with the hook. Play of the day, Giants to hang in San Fran. Maybe to win this game outright. Take the G-Men plus 3.5. That's our play of the day for Monday.
All right, we'll recap everything. We have you covered tomorrow. Now it's college on Tuesday. All the point spread hijinks. Alabama, the goal line standby mistake. Todd Gurley part 2 in the LSU game, and a fake field goal by Georgia up 17 with 3 minutes left. We had it all. We'll run through that coming up on SportsBit. Betting Insight today, SBRPicks.com. Getting the poker tournament. Low Shack in the bag coming up next.